Microphone checker.
1, 2, check. Gossip.
And we're live.
And we
Welcome back to the Think Muzic Podcast.
Yes.
This is the Gnosis, aka the Word.
Stab Dunlap, the producer. Oh man.
And so we if you're watching this on the replay later on, we're gonna get going here in just a minute. We're trying to give a couple of the regular viewers a minute to get in. I know we didn't go on last week.
Took a little vacation myself. Was out of town. Went
Right.
to visit my pops up in Michigan. Had a good trip. Hung out with my family up there. And had a good time, man. 11-hour drive. The drive went well. I did get rear-ended, but it didn't damage my bumper. And outside of that, man, it was a good time.
It's good. It's good.
Made a few tracks. Still gotta finish them, but got 4 start offs going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it was a good time though. Got to make some music, bug out with some families and my uncles, aunt. So it's always a good time when I get to shoot up there and hang out for a little bit.
Right. Yeah, especially given the times.
Right. Yeah. And you
Good
know,
to be able to.
you always hear people say, I listen to this channel called Earn Your Leisure, and they always talk about, yeah, man, like go on your phone, go into your contacts and call somebody you haven't called in months or whatever. Like, check in on people. And so yeah, it's good to do that when you connected with folk. I'm not super connected anymore, so it's like I got a small nest egg of people. And like a Father's Day, I might go through my phone and just do a mass Father's Day text or something like that. But like I don't even know when no one's birthdays are or anything like that, to be honest with you. So if I'm not friends with you on social media, yeah, I might. That's about the only thing I'll do.
Right. Yeah, it's always good to take a little breather.
Mm-hmm.
Change your pace.
Yeah.
I was going to thought about going on last week and just doing just a little quick something. I was like, I'm going to bed. So I needed that rest.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it worked out where it needed to. But I tell you what, there's been a lot of things been just kind of hitting my head and just like all at once. And I've been telling Dap about how I've been walking around talking to myself, not on no schizo stuff, James, yeah, Eric, nothing like that, but just trying to sort things out. Like sometimes you ever picked up a book and read something and it hit you so hard you just got to put it down and do something that's kind of the opposite, like just something mindless. Like for example, sometimes I'll read something and I have to put it down, and that's like and I might have to go and scroll on Instagram for about 5 minutes just to balance it out. It's just something mindless and stupid, um, just to try to keep from frying my brain.
Yes.
Because I need to let it sit for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what just happened? You know? So it's been one of them weeks. You know, a lot going on in the world.
Always.
Overwhelming.
Peace, Brianna.
Peace, Brianna. Yeah, man, it's just. Oh, let me say what's up to all my patrons.
Building as a people.
Building as a people. Yeah, man, there's people going on YouTube trying to mock me.
Uh-oh.
What's his name? I don't want to mess his name. The Gunnesses?
Oh man. Anyway, he in the Brotherhood.
yeah. Hey, Brotherhood. Oh, my man. That's my man. What's up, Flex?
Peace, Flex.
Okay. You want to get the reels? You want to, you ready to roll?
Yeah, what they say. When two or three
Hard gathered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the title of tonight's podcast is All You Can Eat. And I gotta go here before we even get started. Of course, podcasting is very, very popular. I mean, that's an understatement to say that podcasting is popular now. I mean, it's beyond popular. It's the all in all just about these days. I have to say, just put this out here. We're not a very well known podcast, but I don't know many others that serve this much food within a short period of time. You know?
Right.
Our filibustering was about the first 5 minutes. That's the equivalent of us filibustering. You know, we're not gonna filibuster for an hour, 2 hours, and we give about a good 5-6 minutes, kind of, shoot the bull.
Mm-hmm.
What's been going on.
Right.
Greet some of the people as they come in, and we pretty much go for it.
Right. Right.
I have to say that. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, we just have to acknowledge what we bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
You come here and sit in on this podcast, you just might get some nourishment. It ain't no just might. You're gonna get you a meal.
Yes.
Every time you come, you're gonna get you a meal. And tonight we're gonna give you more than a meal. We're gonna give you a buffet.
Mm.
And
Golden Corral.
Golden Corral, furs, Lubies, JNS Cafeteria. Uh,
Yes. Old Country Buffet. That was
oh,
a
come
big
on.
thing back up my way.
Cracker Barrel.
Right. Right.
Down home cooking tonight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so this where it's so much, but this where we gotta um take off from. So Dap turned me on to this lady, I guess about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Her name's Michelle Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
She's of European descent,
Mm-hmm.
but she has become fascinated with classical, if I dare say classical history, modern. Well, it's modern history, but just a wee bit in the past, as in the 19th century.
Right.
Okay, she has a theory that catastrophic events were intentionally caused
Mm-hmm.
in the mid uh, 19th century,
Mm-hmm.
and that a time series of timelines were reset.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
history was rewritten. She's not the first person to say this. I mean, uh, nobody else. Taj Tariq Bey been saying this for years. Um, Delbert Blair has hinted at this.
Yeah. He never wanted
Uh,
to go in, but he definitely hinted at it.
yeah, he would hint at it. So I've been thinking about this and thinking, and something hit me one day. I don't know how, I don't know what it made. It was something I was dealing with, something with astrology, and I discovered that next year, 2022, there will be a conjunction in Pisces, and it'll be Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Now, this happens roughly every 166 years. Okay. Now, if you take the year 2022 and you subtract 166 from that, you come up with the year 1856.
It's
And
right in her timeline.
1856,
So that's right in her timeline.
that lines up with the time frame that she's talking about these catastrophic events that were created to hide ancient civilizations. Okay.
Right.
Now, Pisces is a water sign, and her theory is that these events involved mudslides.
Mm-hmm.
For there to be mud, there must be water. Pisces is a water sign. What is so significant about Jupiter and Neptune? Peace, Nene.
Peace, Nene.
She said Gemini. Oh boy, you got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of electrical energy going on right now. Um, Jupiter and Neptune. What's significant is that? Um, Jupiter is considered to be the traditional ruler of Pisces. Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. So when you have those two in Pisces temple, you have double the energy inside of the home sign. Okay? So that means if Neptune is in water, and then you add Jupiter, which is just one word to describe Jupiter, is expansion. Then if you just take those two, the expansion of water. Now, at this time in human history, you don't have a lot of literacy. And beyond that, you don't have a lot of access as far as the public to their own knowledge.
Right.
Their own indigenous knowledge had been stripped and had been hidden, not just in the Vatican, but in lodges, quote unquote secret societies. Okay. And they also held on to the science of studying astrology. And what astrology does is allows you to be aware of the past cosmic weather, the present cosmic weather, and the future cosmic weather. And if you are aware of the weather, cosmic weather forecast, peace, Brother Williams.
Peace, Bro Williams.
If you are aware of the coming cosmic weather forecast, then you can plan accordingly, whether that is positively or nefariously. And if you have created a world where certain knowledge is either taboo, forgotten about, or dismissed, it's carte blanche.
You can run all over the place.
You can run all over the place. So I just want to lay all that out as foundation. Okay. I got so much. Hold on. Everything is connected. Oh, P, tell Sirius we said peace, and we wish him
get well.
Yeah, it gets well immediately. So y'all bear with me, and that I'm asking you to bear with me because I don't want to dominate the broadcast.
Yeah, you good. We gotta lay it out.
So y'all just bear with. I got it. We're gonna go old school with it. We're gonna go old school. And look, Dap and I are pretty prideful people. I'm just gonna keep it real. You know, pride ain't always bad. You know, so we not the kind who gonna browbeat you about the super chat. Let me tell you this: if there's any podcast that's worth super chatting, then damn it, this is it. Because tonight you're getting ready to get fed. We're gonna feed you, okay?
Indeed.
So the spirit moves you, let it move you. You see the cash app running on the bottom. Yeah. Here we go.
Support the music.
So supporting the music.
I'm gonna go grab my book real quick. I'll be right back.
Bet. Okay. I'm gonna give y'all scholarship tonight. Okay. No freestyling. I'm gonna give you. We're gonna give you some meat. This is the other Bible. Okay. The other Bible, this is by Willis Barnstone. Okay. Now, I'm going to read from the Gospel of Thomas. And this is the second saying. Jesus said, "Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over all." Jesus said, "Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over the all." Okay, I read that because this is how I have been feeling for a long time, for years. I felt trouble all my life, to be honest. I felt troubled. But particularly in these times we're in now, I feel more trouble than I've ever felt before in my life. Because I'm telling you, I look around and I see, and I'm not trying to say this to be an elitist or anything. I see ignorance at an abysmal level everywhere. Okay? And tonight I'm gonna try to, if y'all will bear with me, I'm trying to just reel all this shit together in my head. I want to try to give you a foundation to kind of why this is, what is the main theme running behind this, how it arrived here, you know what I'm saying, and what's the attempt. So I want you to put something in your mind. I told you the date, 1856, was that conjunction. Now, I want to introduce to those who don't know about this man. His name is Rudolph Steiner. Okay, peace, MJ. Rudolph Steiner. Now, I'm gonna go straight to the meat, then I'm gonna back up. This is a book right here. If you want to get proof, point, evidence of what is going on right now in our world and what the agenda is, this is the book.
Ooh,
Secret Brotherhoods and the Mystery of the Human Double. Okay? And I'm going to read something out of here. Okay? Then I'm going to backtrack and give you some background information. Now I'm just going to pick up. This is it says, "These human souls who indeed have the task of finding out about these forces and inspiring people who are here on the earth with them, people who are not mediums, but who should find out about them in a normal and proper way through inspiration. In normal life, one has to wait for this. When things that ought to come later make their appearance as spiritual premature births by the means I have described, through criminal occult activity. When this happens, those whose intentions towards humanity are not good, in other words, those who are black or gray magicians, and don't take that out of context, can gain possession of such secrets. Now, this is what I'm going to give you the foundation here. This is Rudolph Steiner, and you must know that he's a sun in Pisces, born February 18th, 1861 or 61 or 5. So this is the lens you're getting this through. He is saying that in 1841, the energy that I'm speaking of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, the energy started hitting the planet. And he says that energy hit the planet from 1841 till 1879. And he said the energy was a precursor, and that these energies were only supposed to seep through, and that these certain secret societies were aware of this, and they tried to prematurely tap into the energy to use it as a weapon to control the masses. Okay? I'm giving a synopsis. Now, so listen where this gonna go. And he refers to these people as materialistic societies. Certain circles in this materialistic age are striving to paralyze and make impossible all of humanity's spiritual development through causing people by their very temperament and character to reject everything spiritual and regard it as nonsense. This shit sounds more like, is this 100-some years ago? Or are we talking about present day?
Right.
A stream of this kind, and it is already noticeable in some isolated individuals, will become deeper and deeper. A longing will arise for there to be a general opinion. Whatever is spiritual, whatever is of the spiritual, is nonsense, is madness. Listen, endeavors to achieve this will be made by bringing out remedies to be administered by inoculation, just as shots. Just as inoculations have been developed as a protection against diseases. Hold up. Only these inoculations will influence the human body in a way that will make it refuse to give a home to the spiritual inclinations of the soul. People will be inoculated against the inclination to entertain spiritual ideas. Endeavors in this direction will be made. Inoculations will be tested that already in childhood will make people lose any urge for spiritual life. This is, however, only one of the things connected with the more intimate knowledge that must come about in this fifth. You hear that number? Fifth post-Atlantean age. Fifth, five. We're in a 5-year, 2021. Regarding the connection of these natural processes and remedies with the human organism, they will make their appearance among humanity at the appropriate time. The decisive question will be what succeeds first, whether the endeavors to let those spiritual premature births get into the hands of individuals for the furtherance of their own purposes, or whether knowledge about these things will come down in the right way for the welfare of humanity when the time is ripe. Okay? Now, just for a contextual sake, this is written in 1917. This is dictation of a lecture given in 1917. We're in the year 2021.
And it's a year before that Spanish flu dropped into
That's right.
1918.
That's right. Test run for 2021. Now, I want to go back to what I read, because everything that I'm trying to present ties in each other. So y'all stick with me, please. One more time, I want to read from the Gospel of Thomas, Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over the all. So let's just, what is that really saying? It's saying to know is to be troubled. That's what it really, to know in this world is to be troubled.
And you seen that with Christ also.
Common motif. But it's saying that if you are troubled, then that means you are the possessor of all. So your troubling is your protection. Your knowledge is your protection. All right. Now, when I say that, check this out. This is another section. He says, the time must come when individuals take up the irksome task of thinking not only in the way thinking is taught by so-called educated people in the universities. A time must come when a number of individuals declare their willingness to take upon themselves this irksome view of the world which derives its direction, its concepts, and its ideas of the spiritual world. Humanity must not be allowed to remain in the dormant state it wants to retain with those abstract, generalized concepts, not only striven for, but also noble by the materialistic age. Now, check this out. Hold on with me, because we're going to keep going, because this is another book by Steiner, The Philosophy of Freedom. Now check this out. Check this out. Now, y'all got to bear with me on this. This was a little lengthy, but just hold tight. Okay. Philosophers. Now, mind you, this is a sun in Pisces that this is coming from. What does this book say? The Philosophy of Freedom. Now, see, your astrological makeup will show up even when you're not trying to. He has Sun in Pisces, and I had his charts somewhere, and I don't, hold on, I got his chart. Because what you're seeing is, you're seeing what Pisces, how Pisces and Aquarius are really supposed to work together. You see, when we hear about this whole thing of, well, we're going from Pisces to Aquarius, and it's about knowing and not believing, and what it does is it makes Pisces sound like Pisces is horrible. But that's not the case. Pisces follows Aquarius. Pisces is the assimilation of what was accomplished in Aquarius. Aquarius is creating for the collective through my individuality, and then Pisces is going to synthesize all of that. So it's not like those two are enemies. It's a continuation of a story. Even if you're talking about going backwards, the way we read I forgot what you call it. When you're reading, when we're talking about generations, when it, the ecliptic's going backwards, down here in our everyday life, it's going clockwise. But when we're looking at the heavens, it's counter. But it's still a story, okay? So in his chart, he has Venus in Aquarius. He finds harmony in freedom. The philosophy of freedom. What I'm about to read, you're going to hear Pisces and Aquarius. Those two archetypal concepts are going to commingle in what he's saying, and it's speaking to us right now because we're on that same cusp. Okay, philosophers have found the chief difficulty in the explanation of ideas in the fact that we are not identical with the external objects. And yet our ideas must have a form corresponding to their objects. But on closer inspection, it turns out that this difficulty does not really exist. We certainly are not identical with the external things. That's Pisces. What's Frankie Beverly and Mays? We are one. That's a Piscean statement.
Yeah, fire song too.
He says we certainly are not identical with the external things, but we belong together with them to one and the same world. The stream of the universal cosmic process passes through that segment of the world which, to my perception, is myself as subject. So far as my perception goes, I am, in the first instance, confined with the limits bounded by my skin. That's Saturn. Saturn is the ancient ruler of Aquarius. Your skin is ruled by Saturn because your skin creates a boundary. But all that is contained within the skin belongs to the cosmos as a whole. That's a Piscean and Aquarian statement. Aquarius is about the collective, and Pisces sees it as the collective and me is all the same. Hence, for a relation to subsist between my organism and an object external to me, it is by no means necessary that something of the object should slip into me or make an impression on my mind like a signet ring on wax. The question, how do I gain knowledge of that tree 10 feet away from me, is utterly misleading. It springs from the view that the boundaries of my body are absolute barriers through which information about external things filters into me. The sources which are active within my body are the same as those which exist outside. I am therefore really identical, Pisces, with the objects, not, however, I insofar as I am subject of perception, but I insofar as I am part within the universal cosmic process. The percept of the tree belongs to the same whole as myself. The universal cosmic process produces alike here the percept of the tree, and that a percept of myself. Were I a world creator instead of a world knower, subject and object, percept and SIF, would originate in one act. For they, and I know he's an academic lecturer and he writes like that. A lot of this shit. This is not beautiful copy. He kill you, but you gotta really dig into what he's saying. He's saying if I was the all in all, then there would be no separation because I produced the idea of the tree and I produced the idea of the id or the ego or the person, the individual person. But if I'm the source, then none of this shit can be separate because I'm the source.
Right.
Okay? As world knower, I can discover the common element in both, see, so far as they are complementary aspects of the world. Only through thought, which by means of concepts relates to the one to the other. So what does it have to do with what we're saying? Spirituality is deeply connected to the ability to think.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking is not a mechanical brain function. Thinking is an internal knowingness through observation and perception and experience. Okay? There is what he is saying is that there has been an attempt to hijack the evolution of humanity. And during this time, I just want to give you some background. And I'm going to show you. This shit is crazy. I just said next year, Jupiter and Neptune will conjunct. We're already in that basic energy field. What I like to do is go back and look at different historical events. The last time we had that energy signature on the planet. And then you can really see how astrology is real, the real fucking history. You know what I'm saying? Listen to this. Listen to this. Now this is a rare book right here. This book is called Marijuana, spelled with an H.
Ooh.
Okay. The author is last name Abel. Marijuana, the first 12,000 years. Ernest L. Abel. Okay. Now he talks about. Let me see if I can. I had it in here. I had this. Hold on.
Peace, trickery.
Um, this section is called Hashish's Advanced Man. Among the luminaries of the French world who sought in hashish the key to expanded consciousness was Pierre-Jules Théophile Gautier. A failure as a painter and poet, Gautier became an overnight sensation in 1835. Okay? At the age of 24, with the Mademoiselle de Maupin, the story of a transvestite.
Oh boy.
Hailed by one critic as the most daring novel that ever a full-fledged romanticist could write. Gautier's view of life is best stated in the preface to this novel. A special award ought to be given to people who invent new pleasures. He tells his readers, for enjoyment seems to me to be the end of life and the only useful thing in the world. Now, again, this era, and this book just give you example after example, 1843, 1856, 1855. So in this era, only the elite or children of the elite could travel around the world. And where they were really going was to the quote unquote Middle East.
Right.
Because the indigenous people here on this landmass had already been maligned and overthrown. And all of their knowledge about hemp production and all the different things you know, our world could be a cakewalk. You know, we're talking about resources. The land was abundant. So, but still, they had the ability to travel, and they went overseas and learned about hashish. Okay, and they're talking about consciousness and dreams and so forth. Now, mind, these are all Piscean themes. This is all what that Piscean energy is on the planet. And now just take that and juxtapose that with where we're at right now. We have a Neptune and Jupiter. They're right now they're in Pisces. They're not conjunct. Jupiter's going to retrograde back in Aquarius, but it will go back in Pisces. What are some of the key themes going on now in society?
A lot of what you just said. You got the LBGTQ community is vibrant. Over this time, you've had you was talking about the shots. We all came up having to take the tetanus shot coming up. Even before that, you had the Tuskegee experiment. If you watch The Matrix and you watched Matrix Reloaded, when Neo was talking to the architect, which to me is one of the best scenes in movie history. Is a lot of information in those scenes. He talks about Neo being the sixth one, and how the world was destroyed uh 5 times, and the world that Neo and them lived in was going to be the sixth time that it would be destroyed. You know, so a lot of what you were saying is parallel to right now.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, just a different people on the earth, or at least a different generation of people on the earth, but the cycle was back. And I was telling you about the this book, the Tragedy and Hope book, where Carol Quigley was talking about how civilization start, and uh, you can start small, then you grow. And I don't have it marked in my book, but he had 3 different names. Like, you're at the beginning, and then you get to like the age of growth, and then you get to the age of expansion, or further expansion. And that's when you get conflict. So that's what it seems where we at today. America's maybe on the cusp of, and he also says in the book, there's a way that they try to stop that change of being taken over. And that's where it looked like America is today, with the growth of China, and China supposedly making some deal with Iran, and you still got Russia, and uh you know what's coming forth is going to be um catastrophic for someone. But as you were saying, how can someone stop that from happening? And that's where it seems we're going now, with all this the digital age, the pushing of these vaccines to inhibit you tapping into your spiritual growth. Because as we were talking about earlier, vaccines, we had all this what was it, H1N1 and SARS and Ebola and all of that stuff. And I know people do the flu shot every year, but not everyone does that. But this is like the first time I've seen, since I've been alive, that they tried to get the whole nation to take a vaccine. It wasn't just, you know, voluntary. It was, no, you need to take this. You need to take this, like harping on it, pushing it. I mean, they doing lotteries and everything for you to take it. Like, so you have to ask yourself, like, what's really going on, that they want you to put whatever this is inside of your body. And if we're looking at what you're saying, that we're in a time of spiritual growth and they're trying to inhibit that, then what you're saying makes 100% sense.
Yeah, and one thing we see, what's the main driving selling point in all of this? It's fear.
Yep.
It's fear. We're seeing people who got PhDs, um, your so-called upward mobile of society. It ain't just you know, uh, the lowly, uneducated. It's the so-called movers and shakers are shook,
Right.
shook, you know. And so I wanna show another rare book, the Occult Anatomy and the Bible.
Look
I've
at those
shared this
chakras on
before.
their chest.
What's
Those
that?
chakras. I said those chakras on their chest.
Mm-hmm. So this book is by Kareem Helene, Now, just to give you background on her, she comes out of the Rosicrucian Society. Her mentor was a guy named Max Heindel. Max Heindel was a contemporary of Rudolph Steiner. Rudolph Steiner was a Rosicrucian, and he also was founder of what's called the Anthroposophical Society. The Anthroposophical Society was a spinoff of the Theosophical Society that was headed by H.P. Blavatsky. Now, I'll give you some background. H.P. Blavatsky was a mulatto. And you ain't got to be no rocket scientist. Just look real close at her pictures and look at that coarse hair of hers. She was a mulatto. Now, she was a rival of a guy named Pascal Beverly Randolph. Okay? And he was of prominence during what time? Time period we're talking of right now, mid 1800s. Okay? So I just want to give you that as some background so you know who are you reading. I learned this from Bobby Hemmett. He would talk about the publisher of a book. He would give you a background about the author. He'd let you know he was part of Golden Dawn, and he was, and it's important to do that, to kind of qualify your sources, okay? Brianna said, it's funny how people were so excited for 2020, saying we're going to be able to see with 2020 vision. Then they were depressed with the lockdowns. That was a time to get clarity. Super facts.
Yes.
Yeah. Super facts. Flex said he think they were hating on Blavatsky. That's possible too, But I do know there was a split, and and there's evidence that Beverly was a rival of somebody, and he was not able to live a full life. So but I'm gonna do some more investigating into Pascal Beverly Randolph, because she's very, very curious. All of that, I want to read this. It's called "The Burden of Fear." People suffer greatly today from contagious diseases. Repeated. Now, and let me just give you a backdrop. This book was written in original copyright 1940. Okay.
All right.
People suffer greatly today from contagious diseases. Repeated epidemics take their toll of tens of millions. Fear plays an important part at such times. Where the disease itself takes the lives of hundreds, it is perhaps true that fear claims the victims by the thousands. Thought becomes very obviously the most important factor of cure and control under such situations. If y'all remember, we were just talking about Steiner, was talking about thought, right?
Yes.
If people recognize the importance of Dr. Carroll's statement quoted above, and gave attention to the power of thought, the problem of contagion would be largely solved. Fear is paralyzing in its effects. It slows down the motion of the atoms of both the mental and the physical bodies. The rhythmic harmony between the several vehicles is disturbed with the inevitable result of disease of some kind. When an epidemic sweeps over a city, the psychic atmosphere, now listen to this. When an epidemic sweeps over a city, the psychic atmosphere takes on a leaden aspect. Lead means it becomes heavy. Okay? It is gray and heavy with the accumulated fear thoughts of the masses. Have y'all noticed the insane rain? Now, here in Texas, we in Texas, man. It rained in the fall, like late October, November. I mean, we get a little rain in the spring, but this right here, this is this you know, this is not normal.
Yeah, we getting a lot of rain here too.
Yeah, gray skies, gray heavy skies, not 1, 2 days, weeks. The glaring headlines in the daily papers add to the scare. By stirring up emotions of fear through screaming aloud the numbers who are ill. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
And the fatalities as they increase. Added numbers succumb. This alone is a sinister influence of tremendous power. It is largely responsible for lowering the consciousness of a community in time of an epidemic to such an extent that it becomes a task of major proportions for the average individual to rise above it. How truly Job spoke for multitudes of others when he exclaimed, quote, "That which I feared hath come upon me," end quote. When these facts are known and acted upon, effective measures can be taken to avoid fear and remain immune to contagion. Let the mind remain faithfully centered in truth, and in calm and in confidence meditate on the divine power within that is available whenever called into action. Use such affirmations as strengthen, poise, and faith. The 23rd and the 91st Psalms have magical power for alleviating fear. Let these rhythms enter into the very recesses of the subconscious mind by repetition and by meditation upon their divine assurances. Avoid reading about disease or discussing the subject unnecessarily, never negatively. Refuse to permit any of its lurid details to be pictured upon your mind. The image-building faculty of mind, imagination, is one of its most powerful tools. It may be used constructively or destructively. It can rebuild a broken body or tear down a healthy one. And I mean, I know I'm probably ain't telling none of y'all nothing you don't know. But to me, what is mind-blowing is that this was written in 1940. And so, are we to think that people are not aware of this?
Right.
And that what we are experiencing is a form of warfare, mental warfare. During the time, and a lot of this stuff, hey, shameless plug, is talked about in my book, The Lies Behind the Ties. And I cite from these two books. Now, what I want to show you is there were so many facets that went into at the time that this cycle came around 160 something years ago. You had the psychedelic aspect to it. You had the occult workings that were going, okay? And you had an educational front. I want to read something. Whenever you have this heavy Piscean energy hit the planet, you must pay attention to the children because they are the booty. They are the prize. And how do you know? Because all of this thing started out where everything was like, the children are okay. Okay? And what they did was they put a wedge between the young children and grandmama. Remember how all this thing started? Having a little old woman at a little glass reaching, and a little grandchild comes up to the other side of the glass, and they kissing each other through the plexiglass window or something. Mm-hmm. That was letting you know what was the real prize. It was some children. And there's a bond between the eldest and the youngest. That's why you have grandmother, grandchild. Notice they are both grand. Okay? So they were trying to separate, and I want to read something, because this is not something that is a story from the past. I want to read you a future time passage, okay? This is coming out of the Bible, Matthew chapter 2. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod, the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Now, we know Jesus is associated with what sign in the zodiac? Pisces. It is very possible that every 166 years there is a somewhat messianic crystallized energy that hits the planet. And the story is not, and we already know this is mythological story anyway. But we know mythologies contain the greatest truths, and it's written in a manner to where it seems like it was a back then type of thing. But a mythology is timeless. It can be talking about right now. It can also be talking about 1,000 years from now. And that's why the true meaning of a parable is it's layers of knowledge and wisdom encoded into a passage to be unpacked. All right. What am I trying to say? Listen, there's a generation, and this is not to rule out other people's significance, but I especially got to say this to my age group. And I especially want the person who's going to be getting this reading with me Sunday to really perk your ears up when I say this, because you have this in your chart as well. Neptune in Sagittarius. Neptune was in the sign of Sagittarius from the years of 1972 to 1985. Okay? Now, if you have a child, let me look this up so I can see which age group they're going to fall in. I know Neptune in, I'm looking for Pisces generation. Neptune and Pisces, 2011 to 2026. If you have children born from 2011 to 2026, okay, That means they're going to be born with Neptune in Pisces. There's a connection between people born between the years of 72 and 85 and these children 2011 to 2026. Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces, but Jupiter is the traditional or ancient ruler of Pisces. Jupiter also rules Sagittarius. There's a connection, because if you have Neptune in Sagittarius, then Jupiter is the ruling planet. So you have an aspect of Neptune and Jupiter. That's almost like a Neptune-Jupiter conjunction. You're fucking special. Listen to me again. If you're born between 1972 and 1985, you were born with Neptune and Sagittarius. That is the equivalent of a Neptune-Jupiter fucking conjunction. Okay? If your child was born with Neptune and Pisces, Jupiter is exalted in Pisces. So Jupiter, like I said, is the ancient ruler of Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces, but either way, it is the same energy. So that means we have parents on the earth now who are having children later in life, because most of the people born in that Neptune Sagittarius generation, like myself, we're old enough to have children who graduating from college. Okay? But a lot of us got little babies, got little children. It's not by happenstance. It lined up this way. It lined up this way to usher in a certain energy. And my theory is that this is referenced in Matthew chapter 2. It's not some singular event. Now, more specific, there's, just to be clear, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto are called generational planets, okay? Because they move so slow. Now we're going to narrow the window even more. Pluto was in Libra from the years of 1971 until 1984, okay? So most of those parents who got the Neptune and Sagittarius, they also have Pluto in Libra. Pluto, one word to describe Pluto is regeneration. And see, this is how we get lost in translation. We always hear Pluto as Lord of the underworld, and we think about everything gruesome and dark and da-da-da. But just think about this. Where does a seed go to germinate?
The dark underground.
Underground.
Where do your thoughts come from?
Underground.
The darkness of your mind.
Compression. It's where compression occurs. Okay? So, Pluto and Libra. And y'all, I'm sorry if I'm boring y'all, but I'm trying to.
Nah, this is good.
I'm trying to show y'all another rare book. Minerva. The choice is yours. Okay? Now, this book was written by it's a lady named Isabel Hickey. Okay, she co-authored this book, and I want to read something that that cooked my noodle when I read
You
it.
on your matrix.
Huh?
I said you on your matrix. If you really want to cook my noodle, if you really
Really
want to
want to
cook
cook
the
my
noodle,
noodle.
would you have knocked that vase down if I didn't say anything?
Oh man, let me find this right here. Y'all bear with me. I want to read you something here.
Yeah, they got us scared of the darkness. All those scary movies, Freddy Krueger, Jason at the campground.
Because they don't, because it is not given full contextual explanation.
Mm-hmm.
They only show one side of it.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I want to read you something. And again, this woman is she's Caucasian woman. She was born in 1903 and she transitioned in 1980. Um, Here we go. The souls that came into incarnation with Neptune and Saturn in conjunction in Libra at their birth will be active and at work to usher in a new consciousness when Pluto goes over that conjunction. That doesn't apply to us, but that's way before us, more of our, your parents. Many advanced souls have come in since 1945, and they will be the new leaders and statesmen. They have chosen to come in and clear the planet of the demagogues and the greedy materialism which such persons represent. A purifying, albeit painful, process will be at work on the planet. The avatar of the Aquarian age is about his father's business. His activity started on the outer levels with the entrance of Pluto into Libra. I want to read that one more time. His activity started on the outer levels with the entrance of Pluto into Libra. Would you be surprised to find out he is already functioning? Hold on. Let me give you this. This was written in 1973. Okay. Would you be surprised to find out he is already functioning and has chosen a black body in which to dwell? Would you be surprised to find out he is already functioning? And don't settle on the he, this is that we'll say that he or she is already functioning and has chosen a black body in which to dwell. How many will recognize him? How many recognize the greatness in a Jewish carpenter? Now, that right there, I was not expecting when I read this, and it cooked my fucking noodle. I told Dap I've been walking around washing dishes, talking to myself for the past 3-4 days, trying to process,
And
you
something we
know.
came up with today was all of these shootings of African American men and women could be scaring you from tapping into that high consciousness because you don't want to perish for speaking out. And I'm not talking about on what's going on. I'm talking about tapping into whatever the consciousness has you tapping into. You may be afraid because you don't want anything to happen to you, right? So you nullify those thoughts and just say I'm just gonna be a regular Joe, but you really have a purpose to tap into,
That's
and
mhm.
that's what he's lining up with the astrology energy from 72 to 85, and then what this lady just said in her book in 73, that's someone, you know what I mean? Some man or woman, uh, according to her, African American male or woman. But if we're saying the elite understand these things, then they're going to try to thwart that from producing itself through our culture of the American culture.
And they will give you programs on PBS about the bombings in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
They will give you things on Netflix about the bombing in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
And you go amongst people who don't do no studying. And they want to tell you about, did you see the thing on CNN or whatever about Tulsa? It's like, nah, it's like, I ain't got cable, man. Well, if you can see it, it's have you seen Tariq Nasheed? And I'm like, that is not the real play. You feed people what their emotional, egotistical mind wants, right?
Right.
And so they will not look at the real picture. And you're subconsciously programming a fear module into the mind too, because you're reliving the trauma of what happened with Tulsa, and
And you tapping into pissed offness, negative energy, because
yeah,
now you're pissed off about what happened then, and so now it's moving you away from that, I'll just say, Christ consciousness
right.
that you could be tapping into, because now it's pulling you away from that. Now you're thinking about this, um instead of tapping into what you was tapping into.
Here's the thing about death. Brianna said death magic. Death,
You lost this for your computer.
thank you, big guy.
It was inside one of the things.
Okay, give me a hug. We going night night,
Who are you talking to?
Mr. Dap and the people.
What's going on, young man? He's like Niaz. Niaz be like, hey. Oh man.
Okay, let me finish. Good night. I'll be in there in a minute. Okay. Oh, thank you, MJ. Death is pointless if it's not transformative. That's the thing about Pluto. Pluto is not just about just ghoul and pointless murder. Even the movie Hellraiser, it seems like a gruesome movie. You like it, baby? Here, come here. Come give me a kiss. I'm doing my thing. Oh, I love it. Give me a kiss. Night, night. I'll be in there in a little bit, okay?
Well, why that sign shines up to there? Why?
Because I need the light.
It's because that connects all the way to there. It shines up to there. It's because it connects there.
Yeah. Okay. Let Daddy finish so I can come in there.
It's just the one episode.
One episode?
Yeah.
Okay. Boy, my kids got game. Wow, just do one episode.
Can be done.
I don't stand a chance. Man.
That's beautiful.
What was that?
You was talking about Pluto, not Hellraiser, and
we get caught up in all the gruesome stuff, but that's just a distraction. The real message is about transformation.
Because in that movie wasn't they dealing with some type of box? Hellraiser.
Yeah, he opened up
that cube.
He basically opened up Pandora's box. Okay.
What my man said in that one scene, Jesus wept when he was hanging. Hellraiser had him hanging up.
Yeah, but when they tore him apart, that's a Dionysian story.
Okay.
Okay, because Dionysus.
I'm gonna have to watch that again. I'm gonna have to get into those.
Yeah, because Dionysus is connected with. He's basically a transformative aspect of Pluto. Okay. When the seed bursts so that it can sprout, that's Dionysus being torn apart. Because when the guy was torn up in the movie, the only thing that was left, if you remember, was his heart. Mm-hmm. So the seed releases its essence, the heart. So I don't know why I went down that rabbit hole, but the thing is, with all of the different placating distractions that's being put out, what is going on is the basic idea of how to keep a people in a very childlike state. And I got to go and read another scripture that's very popular and it's very timely. It comes from Hebrews chapter 5 and 12. For when the time ye ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. So basically what's going on is humanity's being played and given a whole bunch of milk right now. The whole idea of I say this cautiously. Huh?
Okay. I was just saying that, and if humanity's being played, it's being played by the upper echelon of everyone in every nationality.
Super facts. So everybody, most people who got any little nugget of knowledge is trying to use it basically to get over on those who don't know.
Yep.
Let's just keep it we're living this is a live pyramid scheme we're living in.
Mm-hmm. And they all get together in Davos, Switzerland. Now, all these people supposed to be having all this war and battling, but then they go to these summits in Davos, and it's private, and no one knows what's going on there. And then they leave that meeting, and then you could start watching over time, if you're really paying attention, what the play is. And they all in cahoots in the upper echelons of every country. I'm generally speaking, but majority of all the major countries, let's just say that, because the smaller ones just play ball. So all the major countries that yearly meeting in Davos, all them guys. So it's like he said, that they're all in cahoots. They're all in cahoots, man. They're all in cahoots, and they got us running around the hamster wheel. And from this information he brought forth today, it's to stop you from reaching your higher consciousness. And we in the time of that consciousness is permeating.
Yeah. Everything's been connected the whole time. This book here is called The Pillars of the Republic. Okay? And this is gonna give you like an outline of how public schools came about in the US. And without reading anything in there, this is just a synopsis. What is Rudolph Steiner kept referring to the materialistic group, the materialists. Now, when we use the term the elites right now, okay, that is synonymous with the materialist. Okay. The term materialist is also synonymous with industrialist. Okay. So now this can give you something more to hold on to. These are people that we know of. Morgan, Carnegie, Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, Rothschild, DuPont, and it goes on and on. So to feed, you had the first wave of industrialism comes in the mid 1700s. Okay. Now, just to give you a context, at this time, most people live in little small hamlets or little groupings, little townships. A lot of these things run on barter and trade. Okay. In most situations, the husband and wife work out of the home. Okay. What industrialism did was it created a facade of an economy. Okay. By taking production by mass producing goods. When you mass produce goods, then the common person can't compete because people are going to always go where the prices are cheaper.
That's how you lost all your mom and pop record stores and corner stores back in the day.
Same thing. It's the same. Before there was Lowe's, there used to be a hardware store called Moore's, where I'm from. Funny, Moore's. And Lowe's opened up right beside them and ran them out of business. So the same game's been going on over and over. Okay. So the man had to then go and work in the factory. Okay. Because he couldn't get off his goods. Okay. The mother stayed at home and would tend to the children. Well, they ratcheted down this economy tighter, and all you got to do is raise the cost of goods. So that means somebody else has to go and work. So now the mother had to go and work in the factory with the husband. Now what have we done? We've done the Disney effect. We've isolated the children from the parents. And so what happens is they would nominate a woman in the neighborhood and call her a dame. and they would start something called dame schools. And one woman at the neighborhood would try to basically babysit the children. Okay? What happens then is you have, just like you have a Gates right now, and you have the when you watch any of those PBS shows with your child, look at the things that come on at the end. This is brought to you by the Van Housen family and the such and such. Now you're going to see who real hidden elite people are.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch PBS, the children's shows. These are family names you never hear about.
Yep.
Okay.
Dealing with so much money now, they deal in philanthropy,
Right.
and funding, using their money to fund things.
But they're funding an agenda.
Yeah, of course.
Under the cloak of they're trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an old game. So you have those same people back then were called Benjamin Rush, Horace Greeley, and all these other these folk, and they come in and start saying, we need to educate these children better. Okay, and they start to form something called a common school. And the goal was to take control of the child, and to where the state would have more control over the child than the parent. And by the time we get up to the mid 1800s, they had gone over to Eastern Germany and had brought back a model of how to run schools from communist Germany. And they had a thing called a Lancasterian school. And the Lancasterian school was, you would take an older child, and you could have up to 500 children in the school. And the older children would be like the captains. And they would ensure that all the younger children did their work. So not only did they bring in a communist type of thing, they also introduced gang life. That's how a gang runs. You have to see all of the foundation that they were laying, and it was diabolical. But the goal was not for the child to truly be educated. They wanted to get the children to indoctrinate them early. Because if these people are philanthropists, then they're coming out of what? The LODGE, the lodge. Meaning they were some of the few people who were functionally literate and who still had access to ancient knowledge, i.e., astrology, Kabbalah, numerology. So they were always working on how to control the energy. And so you have a book like this that comes out in 1843, I think. Rollo, At Work, How to Be Industrious.
Oh, wow.
So they put out literature to indoctrinate children on how to be good workers. All these different little stories about how Rollo was being lazy and he wasn't picking up his wood chips, and Rollo had to learn to be industrious. And I mean, man,
to get us to where we are right now.
So if you study the past effectively, you can have a very clear lens to see what is going on right now. And I know this is, I consider this to be a pretty learned group that we talk to,
Indeed.
So I'm sure this is kind of like preaching to the choir, but hey, this is one we might want to share for those who might not be at your level, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy, man. And then when you just, you start looking at, you know, the education system and how they can implement all type of thought through it, where you're so busy that you have to, you're paying attention what they're teaching your child, but then you have to teach them something. You have to teach them something other than that, but then at the same time they have to be, I guess, sort of proficient in it to continue to move on, unless you pull your children out of school and do some homeschooling or something. But you gotta, you have, I guess, as they're being indoctrinated, you gotta unindoctrinate them at the same time. If you got the wherewithal to do that, because they're bringing in what they're learning, you're seeing it, and then you have to help them unlearn what they're learning, but then they need to learn it enough to get through school. It's a crazy, it's a crazy game. It's like what you're learning is like, it's BS, but you need to just get it so you can get through, and then, but this is what it really is over here. And that's what it made me feel like with this information you just laid down, is like, when you get the information, it's at this point now, you don't have to buy into certain things, because now you understand that it's a game that they're playing. And once you understand the game, you don't have to play the game. Now you can play your own game, and not necessarily a game per se, but like now you can move throughout your society with your own thought, because what they're doing is trying to hinder you. And once you get past that hindrance, yeah, you can move how you want to move.
I think too, kids learn a lot by what they see. All these books that are sitting behind me are not to show off, but I do like to show them, because sometimes I get tired of hearing idiots talk as if they are their source, and they don't want to share no sources of where they get anything from, because they want you to see them as the source.
Right.
And that contributes to the muck that we're in, But part of the reason I got these books is because I saw this growing up. I come from a house where my old man had a room on the left side of the house, just like in mine, where he had shelves of books. And education is not just what we drill into a child's head, it's what they see. It's what they see. And they can build value, a sense of value in things by what they see in their surroundings. And one way to combat all of the mind fucking that goes on is to have counter maneuvers. And so you have all of these things so that you can at least introduce something new to the physical brain to help new synapses fire, develop. Because what is going on is that the mind, there's an attempt to shut it down. And once the organism does not have a functioning mind, it's literally a vegetable. But the technology is so advanced now to where the vegetable can be siphoned for energy. Ain't that the Matrix?
That's the Matrix all day.
Just keep a pulse. Keep a pulse, keep them alive. We can feed off of them. And people are walking around with I hate to say this and I hate to see it, with their Black Lives Matter t-shirt on with a mask plastered tight on their face. And I'm like, man, your priorities are misplaced. You're trying to convince somebody else that you matter, while at the same time demonstrating that you don't matter to yourself because you're not doing the due diligence to expand your and shift your perception.
Yep.
There's something.
It's all right there for you to do it.
All right there. There's something called, you can Google this, mask mouth. MASK mouth. This is just one little example, just common sense. We all have noticed just how funky our breath can get throughout this fiasco.
If you didn't know when you woke up in the morning.
If you didn't know the volcanic eruptions that you can produce from your mouth, now you know. And so what's really going on with that? Well, your body produces about 2 pints of saliva a day.
Excuse me.
When you inhibit the natural flow of oxygen, it inhibits your saliva production. When you produce less saliva, you allow more bacteria to grow in your mouth. The more bacteria you grow, the more susceptible you are to cavities, gum disease. And there's a special bacteria that can grow that can contribute to respiratory issues. Ain't that something? Are we not dealing with a respiratory problem?
Yes. I was wondering when I was at the gym, I seen people running with those masks on, and I just didn't know how they were doing it. I didn't know how they were doing it, bro. Running hard too.
And breathing in carbon dioxide.
Yep.
And that same bacteria contributes to Alzheimer's.
Ooh.
So man, it's just. But I know I done gone long tonight. I done. I apologize, but
Now that was a good build, man. That was very educational, informing, exciting. Hopefully, when uh, the people that's listening or those who watch the replay uh, get something from it, tap into some of the information, and use it moving forward. But there's a particular generation that's special, and if you getting downloads to do whatever um positive, do it. That would be my suggestion. Step into it, because you're being used, um and you may not know what you're being used for, but the universe knows what's going on, and you just have to step into it. Because just on a more personal tip, with the music, we feel like the music we bringing forth could be a part of that. And it may not be for now. Not to say it's not for now, but who knows what it could be for in the future. And we were born in that time frame, and hip hop started in that time frame. And if you look at where hip hop is going now, hip hop is the number one genre inside of 50 years. I think hip hop is going on 50 years. Kool Herc says it started in 73. So we're looking at 50 years, and it's the number one selling genre. Now we know it's expanded to everything. Like, it's gangster rap and all, like, we know all of that. But what that lady say, in her estimation, that energy is in a melanated body, and then you got hip hop that started in that same time frame. And not to say it's a hip hopper, I'm not saying that, but when you start going back and looking at all the MCs that has come forth throughout 40 plus years of hip hop music, and I lean more towards the KRS's and Chuck D's and those type of MCs, Rakim, Poor Righteous Teachers, Pharaoh Monch, all those guys. It always bugged me out when I've heard MCs rap the way they rap, and the music was coming through a European conduit, because Europeans own all the record labels, all the major ones at least. But those guys still had the wherewithal to say what they felt they needed to say through hip hop, even though they didn't control the distribution of it. So that says something in itself. And it always bugged me out that the people that run those labels will even let that music come out. Now we know there's a monetary component to it, so that's probably the majority reason. Because if you control it, not that you control, but if you understand an astrology, as we stated, as Jamal stated earlier in the podcast, it's like, oh, let them do that. You know what I'm saying? Because we know the future, we know what's coming up next. So let them have this fun. We're building up our coffers, and we'll be able to control the future anyway, supposedly. But it always bugged me out that you had groups like Public Enemy and X Clan and these guys would sign to major labels, and still put that music out. So that energy is it's moving around. I don't know who this one person is or woman is, but it's out there. And that person may be scared to tap into it because of what they see going on in the world, or at least in America, but you still got to tap into it. And just on a personal level, I'm just trying to tap into what I need to tap into. I'm getting downloads to do things, and I used to sabotage myself, but now I'm like, when Jamal gave me this information, he told me about this earlier in the week, and not everything that he stated, but the foundation of it. And then I started looking at what I'm doing, or what I started doing before he gave me the information. It just made me want to just tap into what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't know what's next, but I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
In doing whatever it is.
Indeed. I think
Yeah,
too.
Razzcast is dope worthy. I'm sorry. Razzcast is dope. Thank you, MJ.
Okay. Brianna said, during Christ times, it seems there's always a barrier to the messages. The writers of the New Testament had their scripts read by Romans before publication. Rome's energy never failed, nor did Christ's. Right. One thing look up is the speaking of Rome, one thing worth looking up is the I learned this from Taj Tariq Bey, was to look up the Spanish Inquisition. It has changed names, but it never stopped. Spanish Inquisition is, basically a Roman contrived ongoing militaristic effort. But yeah, Rome's energy never failed. Something I was gonna add on what you said.
Tapping into what your download is and not being afraid.
Oh yeah. That this energy is it's powerful, but it's intensely active right now. We just had a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, right? And just think of all the shit that's going on right now in the cosmos. We had a lunar eclipse. Hold on. We had a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius.
Oh, I got you, Brianna.
Oh, okay. I got it. Okay, when was the lunar? When was the moon in Sagittarius? It was the 26th of May. We had a eclipse in Sagittarius. Now, mind you, one of the we've been talking about Neptune and Sagittarius, right? I want to. Okay, let me finish my thought first. My wife say I talk in riddles because I start some shit and go, okay. May 26th. Let's see what I gotta come back to that. What was I gonna add on? Oh yeah. Okay, May 26th. Then to complete this cycle on, let's see, I think it's the 10th. We have a solar eclipse at 19 degrees and 47 seconds of Gemini. Now, wherever in your chart you have Sagittarius and Gemini, what you can look at is the lunar eclipse. Where is a cycle coming to an end? And this is not even, it's not for just for the people with Neptune and Sagittarius. This is whatever Sagittarius, whatever house is in your chart, period. Where is something coming to an end? And with the solar eclipse in Gemini, where is a new cycle beginning? Now, for me, 19 years ago, because that's how long it takes for the nodes to go through a full cycle. 19 years ago, we had the South Node in Sagittarius, and we had the North Node in Gemini, just like now. 19 years ago, I left North Carolina and moved to Texas, and I never moved back. I've been here ever since. Been back to visit a few times, but once I got down here in Texas, it was a wrap. So, in your body, Sagittarius rules your thighs, okay, and your hips. Now, those thighs and hips, think about part of what they do for your body. I want to give you a secret about studying astrology. One of the best ways to study is to study medical astrology. Because your body is something that you have an intimate knowing of. Okay? You can look down and see your thighs and touch them. You can see your knees. You can touch your knees. You can touch your lower legs. And once you learn that, okay, my thighs and my hips is Sagittarius, then you start thinking about, well, what do my thighs do? They help me stand up.
Right.
They help me sit down. They help me travel long distances. Okay? Gemini rules your lungs. It rules your arms, your hands, your shoulders. Now Gemini is said to rule short distance travel. Now see, this is how you think creatively and use your common sense. You figure this shit out. Your arms can only reach so far. We don't walk on our arms, right?
Right.
So your arms are short distance because they can move something from here over to there. Short distance. Sagittarius is long distance travel because with your legs, you can make the whole body move a long distance from where it is right now.
Yes.
So we are closing out a cycle of focusing on traveling a long distance. Okay. And we're moving towards short distance travel. Your thoughts, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is the perception that comes before communication. So your thoughts are short distance travel because they're moving inside of this vessel. Okay? We're being challenged to think about how can we change our perception of things. How can we change our perception of things? And I'm a Sagittarius rising. This really hits home for me because I can sell some shit if I really want to sell it. I'm always got the big vision, the big plan, but many times you need to consider the other perspective. You know what I'm saying? Take a second look at it from another direction. It's Gemini, you know. And so I just wanted to, once again, rambling, but I want to throw that out there, you know, and also say that in between there, I got to say this. This is okay. It's 12 here in Texas. That means it's officially June 5th. Today is the exactitude of Mars oppose Pluto. Anybody who's still in the chat, let me know, for the past week, have you dealt with any combative people on the job, out and about, shopping? Have you felt a little combative? Have your children been a little extra combative? Has your mate been a little extra combative? Y'all let me know in the chat, or let us know in the chat. I'm just curious, because MJ said yes. Okay, so this is a public service announcement. Be very careful with knives, okay? Because Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. Pluto is the modern ruler, okay? And Scorpio is the scorpion. What does it do? It stings, okay? So we're talking about things that can poke, stab, cut. And the tongue is also can be seen as a cutting weapon because words can cut. Okay. The male genitalia is a form of cutting. Okay. So we've seen like I saw something come up about this little young comedian named DC Young Fly, that somebody went up on the stage and tried to fight him doing a comedy stand-up comedy routine.
Wow.
And supposedly he put hands, the young boy DC put hands on the fan, on the person or whatever. That's a very Mars Pluto story right there. Brother Williams said, I've been meditating to keep myself. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's highlight that so when people come back and watch this later, they can see this comment. Because I've been meditating to keep myself balanced. And I'm telling you, man, I've been challenging myself. Can I give some full disclosure?
Indeed.
I went back and went through old text messages with me and my wife to try to see if there was any arguments around the last time that Mars opposed Pluto. It was 2019. And lo and behold, I found little pockets of arguments around that date of like June 20th. I think June 26th, we had this big blow up, you know? And one of the values of studying astrology, and we use the weather analogy, is that you know that it's going to be raining. So, you know, when I get out here on the road, I'm going to be extra cautious about driving because, hey, it just started raining. The road's going to be extra slick. Fools going to be out here driving. I'm just going to be cautious. And that's how I'm learning how to really use this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
To try to be prepared, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what Brother William said, he also said drawing too. Yes. Worthy Maiden says Sirius rising. Yes, that's coming up. The rise of Sirius. It's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. Also, you want to be careful doing physical things. This is, you know, being careful that you don't tear a muscle. Okay, if you're working out, Mars may make you feel aggressive. Put another plate on there. I'm feeling strong today. You know, Mars is very egocentric.
My ego today. I was doing chest presses, and I should have took a plate off, and I kept it on, and yeah, I should have did that, but I made it through. But I'm glad you said that because it's like, let me take it off a little bit, come back at it next week when this is done. Because I did have that. Everything I did today was cool, but I got to them chest presses. I was like, ooh, this was tough. But I did like 5 sets of 10, just 50 reps. And it was tough though. And but you saying that that's something that happened with me earlier today.
Yeah, and you know you want to be very. This is the hard part. Mars is the blood, okay, and the blood needs to be moved to encourage health. So exercise and vigorous exercise are great for health. You know, exercise is a Martian activity. But then the catch is you have to find the sweet spot and stay in it and don't overdo it. That's the hard part. Like, I'm feeling good today, you know. We were working legs today and I was doing some hamstring curls, some single leg hamstring curls. And I was like, I kept telling myself, slow and steady, you know. Worthy Maiden said I was going beast mode with the weights in the gym today. Yeah. It's that Martian energy. Yeah, just be, you know, you gotta be on your Bruce Lee, you know. Control the fury, you know. But I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna do a video tomorrow on Pluto, just a separate thing. But well, you want to play some music before we wrapped up?
Nah, man. I'll swing back with that next week. And I think this build was what this build needed to be. You know, maybe we could just play a closing out track when sleep comes to give everybody just a nighty night. You know what I mean? It's melodic. We got a lot of great information tonight. It was a great build. And yeah, I think playing this track is melodic. And while we're listening to the track, let's just think about the information that was brought forth and meditate on that in this 2 minutes of that this beat's gonna play. And then we end the show. So if we ready, I'll hit this track and then we'll, do our sign off.
No doubt.
I think you got this.
I'm gonna rewrite what I started out writing for that.
Uh-oh.
Kind of hit me a little different.
Uh-oh.
When you mention it in the voice of meditation, yeah, that was meditative.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to say thank y'all for hanging out with us. Awesome build tonight. I hope y'all got something from it. I know I did, and it's really made me tap into my personal self and to continue to work on myself as I've been doing. But really just staying more focused and tapped in and trying to see what this energy may have for me, and tapping into that. So once again, man, I've been telling you since earlier this week, since you told me about the information you come across, that it's really been on my mind also, just uh tapping into it. So yeah, that's all I got, good brother.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I just think it's, not to sound cliche, but it's beautiful times. It's beautiful times. Um, Something just hit me. Um, what's it? Brother Williams is talking about how he's been drawing and finding balance through his art. And it's funny that on Wednesday, Venus ingressed Cancer. Venus, art, harmony, beauty, entered the sign of Cancer. You know, the sign of feeling, emotion, you know. So, man, just everybody just tap in the word, in Dap's words. I'm gonna steal that one. Everybody just tap in. You know. What's up, David Lee? Yeah. Tap in. You know, find your internal Shambhala. You know, whether it's through your music, your visual art, spoken word, your whatever, your journaling, you know, your meditation, your prayer, your positive affirmations, whatever it is, you know, this is the time to tap in.
And whatever download you're getting, that you're receiving, definitely tap into that. If you're getting a download to do something, tap into that.
Yes.
That's real.
Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, we're going to end the show at a respectable hour here. And
I'm like you this week. I'm over here yawn festive.
Catch you on the ropes there. Yeah, man. I know how it is. But yeah, we appreciate y'all tuning in as always.
Yes, indeed.
You know, if the creek don't rise, we'll be back next week for another episode. And always, you can find our music on thinkmusic.bandcamp.com. And any of your support is greatly appreciated.
And if
Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App.
If you want to support the music, hit us on the Cash App. It's in the banner. All monies received will go to putting out content and building up the Think Music, the merch and all these different things we want to do, along with us putting money into it also. But if you want to be a part of helping us get this music out and more of it, hit us on the Cash App. And if you hit us on the Cash App, we will give you your props in the liner notes of the projects that we drop. So there's something for your monetary help. You will be in the liner notes of the project. So if you go on Bandcamp, we can type your name in there, and then whenever we get to selling a physical CD or album or something like that, you will be on the physical album or CD liner notes. So that's something we want to do for you all, showing your support. Because I think when you support someone, and I know like you're not gonna get any love from Hanes when you go buy some T-shirts or some undies, but in this realm of the music, it's helping us to continue moving forward, and we appreciate it.
Hey, we want to give a shout out to who was it that sent the cash app?
Oh yeah. Pull them up real quick. Jay Smith.
Jay Smith, we greatly appreciate you, Jay Smith.
Yes, sir.
And we will acknowledge you in our upcoming project.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Jay Smith will be the first one, and and if we get anything else by the time Jamal hits the studio and we get the next project out, other names will be added on. So but yeah, thanks Jay Smith, and once again, thanks for everyone for tuning in.
And salute. Y'all be easy. We'll catch y'all on the top side. Peace.
Peace.